My name is Naledi Pandor, and I wish to begin by acknowledging this Council for its adoption of Resolution 2492 just a few moments ago. We're absolutely thrilled at the unanimity that was indicated in that adoption. I am told that this is a welcome return to consensus in the Council, and we're extremely pleased at that. I now make my statement. I wish, dear ministers, heads of delegation, distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen, to thank you all for participating in our discussion today. In particular, I wish to thank all those who have provided us with such significant briefings in the course of our deliberations. As we have heard, women from diverse contexts across the world continue to face obstacles and resistance. They continue to bear the brunt of armed conflict, and their personal, economic, civil, and political security is persistently undermined. Women's efforts to ensure their participation in peace processes continue not to receive a positive response, and if we fail to address the barriers in the next 20 years and beyond, then we have to face the fact that we are falling far short of our ambitions to realize the objectives we have set as an international community. Together, the United Nations, member states, regional organizations, civil society, and other actors supporting peace processes must hold each other accountable to maintain and go beyond the current progress in the area of women, peace and security and its agenda by 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, your participation today in this important meeting confirms the significance of the Women, Peace and Security agenda. The myriad and complex conflicts in the world underscore the need to reinforce the implementation of this agenda and its related actions. Resolution 1325, which was passed 19 years ago in October, and its subsequent resolutions underpin the Women, Peace and Security International normative framework. We as South Africa view the Women, Peace and Security agenda as a means for women to mediate in conflict situations and as an essential to end the use of force as a means of settling disputes. The report of the Secretary General that we have before us provides us with a useful overview of the successes and gaps in the implementation of this agenda. It gives us concrete recommendations that can move us from rhetoric to action so that we can effectively implement the commitments we have set ourselves. Women are tired of us talking. Women want action. Women want change. It is within this context that we as South Africa saw it fit to present a resolution that is focused on the full implementation of the Women, Peace and Security agenda. The resolution recognizes that although there has been progress, there is still a great deal that we must do. As we exchange views on how to strengthen implementation, particularly as we move toward the 20th anniversary of the adoption of Resolution 1325, it's also imperative for us as an international community to take into account the findings, including recommendations that were made in the 2015 global study on the implementation of Resolution 1325. The study commissioned by this very Council needs to be taken account of. We believe that some of those recommendations of 2015 are still relevant in terms of elaborating practical and attainable deliverables And it is also for this reason that we as South Africa have advocated for its inclusion to embolden the message on full implementation of the 1325 agenda. Our deliverables must be visible and discernible. They must be clearly aimed at ensuring the meaningful participation of women in all levels of peace processes, increasing the number of women in uniformed and civilian components of peacekeeping operations, investing in women as peace builders, such as in mediation and negotiation, protecting the human rights of women, particularly sexual and reproductive health rights, and advancing accountability for heinous crimes such as sexual violence. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, South Africa has been a proponent of the Women, Peace and Security agenda since its inception, and we remain committed to implementing that agenda so that it can also support and contribute to silencing the guns across the world and work towards saving succeeding generations from the scourge of war, as we committed to do at the founding of this very organization. Our country has been engaged in training women across all of these areas. We are therefore optimistic that operationalizing the global alliance of regional women mediators networks will advance some of these objectives. And we are not speaking empty rhetoric when we refer to the participation of women. We have women here from our various armed forces in South Africa and our police service who have served in peacekeeping missions. And they are here to observe our continued commitment to serving areas of the world in which there is conflict. I would like to ask those women in uniform to stand. They have served and deserve recognition. Thank you. Thank you, officers. Excellencies, on peacekeeping, I know, Secretary, that I'm totally breaching all diplomatic rules, but it's sad that they put a novice as a Minister of Foreign Affairs. Excellencies, on peacekeeping, South Africa will continue to ensure the meaningful participation of women in peace support operations. Currently, our National Defense Force comprises 30% women. This has enabled South Africa, as a troop contributing country to UN peacekeeping missions, to deploy more females in the front lines of armed conflicts. The South African contingent of the Force Intervention Brigade to MONUSCO is composed of 14.5% women, and the officer commanding the South African force is a woman. During our side event here at the UN on women in peacekeeping, which was held yesterday afternoon, these women shared experiences on how to achieve the goals we have set on increasing the representation of women in peace support operations. We are pleased that the United Nations Uniformed Personnel Gender Parity Strategy clearly indicates the quotas and the timeframes that must be reached to increase the number of women deployed in military, police, corrections, and justice personnel. As a supporter of collective approaches to address issues that affect us all, we as South Africa will continue to actively participate in existing global initiatives such as the Women, Peace and Security Focal Points Network, the ELSI Initiative for Women in Peace Operations, and the Secretary General's Action for Peacekeeping Initiative. We find these initiatives useful in that they also serve as instruments to raise awareness on the importance of the Women, Peace and Security agenda. Excellencies, as I conclude, let us agree to commit today to continue to advance the cause of women, of peace, and of security, and the agenda thereto, through ensuring that we implement the recommendations and guidelines emanating from existing resolutions. Our contributions all indicate that we know what must be done. Perhaps we need to devote a greater focus on why we are failing to act in pursuit of agreed objectives. Once we've identified the real barriers, we probably will then begin to make greater progress.